another 5-Minute Murder. I am just back from another great World Oddities Expo show up in Cleveland. I was up there this weekend doing the show. It was a fantastic time. Always is. They do a great job putting together the show and doing all the things. So I got to see some of my friends up there. Sick Rick was there selling his masks and everything, and I got to see him. It's always nice to see him and get to check out all the new shit that he has. If you guys have not had a chance, make sure you go over and check out sickrickmasks.com and check out all the stuff that he has. He doesn't just do serial killer stuff. He also does, musicians, he does repaints, he does all kinds of stuff. So go and check out his website, see all the stuff that he's doing. Awesome guy. Lives right up there, close to Cleveland. And I have been to his workshop. It is fantastic. So you guys got to check it out. Go and check out his stuff. He is a awesome mask maker. So yeah, we're going to pick a card. We're going to do all that. And then we will see what we got. And the next the next stop is Nashville. I'll be in Nashville here in a couple weeks, and that should be a lot of fun. I'm excited about that. Checking out what's up down in Nashville. Tennessee is always a good time. All right, we're gonna do Rodney Acala today. So Rodney Acala, also known as the dating game killer. This is a crazy case, right? So Rodney Acala was born August 23rd, 1943, and he must have just died recently. Actually, I need to, I don't have my other device, or I would look it up right now. But I think he died not too long ago, within the last year or so, because I don't have the date of his death on here. Of course, these cards, all of this stuff was made 3 years ago. So if he died within the last 3 years, it's not updated on the card. And I guess I'm going to have to update that at some point because I believe Rodney just died. He is an American convicted serial killer and rapist who was sentenced to death in California. His true victim count remains unknown and could be much higher. Prosecutors have said that he toyed with his victims, strangling them until they lost consciousness, then waiting until they revived, sometimes repeating this process several times before finally killing them. Several people did that. Bundy would do that. Gacy did that. Dean Corll did that. Dennis Nielsen would do that. And it's one of those things that it is really just about all the torture, right? You are reviving that person just to do it over and over again because you get excitement from torturing other people. So one police detective described Acala as a killing machine. He is sometimes called the dating game killer because of his 1978 appearance on the television show The Dating Game in the middle of his murder spree. So yeah, it's crazy. This guy got on the show, the insanely popular show, The Dating Game. He actually won the show. He was the bachelor that was picked by the young lady, and then they were supposed to set up a time to go out and go on their date. And after talking to Acala, she decided to decline. And she said that she just got a creepy feeling from him, and so she declined going out on the date with him. Good thing that she did, because, at that point, Rodney Acala had already killed a bunch of women. Now, Rodney, I believe, was convicted of 7 murders, but they believe that he killed many more. Now, Acala was also a photographer, right? And that was kind of his shtick. He would get women to come with him, and sometimes young girls to come with him, because he was also killed young children. But he would bring them with him, and he would photograph them. Now, when they went into his house and they found his stash of photography, They found pictures of the victims. Uh, they also found pictures of close to, or I think over 300 other people that he had taken photographs of. Some of those people were tied up and gagged and looked to be dead or unconscious in the photography. So it is believed that at least some, if not all, of the women that he photographed, he killed. So if that is true, then his body count could be upwards of 200 to 300 people. So yeah, Rodney Acala, crazy, crazy, crazy story. Um, it's funny. I was at a show one time. I believe, I want to say I was in Lexington for a show, and I had a guy come up to my booth, and he came up and he looked through the thing, and Rodney Acala, of course, with an A, is the very first one in the slot for the World of Serial Killers expansion. And so he looked at Acala's picture and he said, "Oh my God, I got to tell you a story." He was dating Rodney Acala's one of Rodney Acala's victim's sister at the time that Rodney Acala was going through the court case. So he actually went to court with the sister and got to know Rodney. He ended up pen paling with him in prison. Rodney sent him several letters, sent him his book, autographed a bunch of things for him. And the sister, who he was dating at the time, when the police released the sister's effects, because Rodney had taken her purse and her cosmetics bag and threw them out of his window of the car, he has all of that. The sister gave it to him. So he has all of the dead sisters, the victim, all of her personal effects from the crime. So it was a crazy story. He's telling me all this stuff. And he says, you know who you ought to talk to is her sister. Now, the victim was the oldest victim that Rodney had killed. I believe she was 34 or 35, something like that, maybe 32. She was in her 30s. But he actually worked with her. And I guess he had been talking to her off and on, and he would drive her home every once in a while. But he decided, I guess, at some point to take her out on a date. And then on the way home, I don't know if they ever made it to the date. I don't know if he had picked her up, but he ends up kidnapping her, throwing her stuff out, and he eventually kills her. So anyway, this gentleman who comes to my booth, he says, you need to talk to the sister. And he calls her on the phone while I'm at the booth. And for about a half hour, I spend on the phone with one of the victim's sisters. And, we talked a bunch about it. We were actually supposed to do an interview at some point, and I kind of screwed that up. I never went back and followed up because I never really started. There's a book that I want to write. It will probably, we have Beyond the Headlines that's coming out on July 2nd. So in a month from now. Today is June 2nd. So on July 2nd, Beyond the Headlines will come out and will be released. But after those 3 volumes are done, one of the books I want to do is about all of the conversations and all of the stories that I hear at conventions about these different killers. I think it would be fascinating, all of the connections that I hear, all these cities that I go to, where people give me their personal accounts of all of these experiences that they had or their family had, or some of them were family members of the victims or family members of the killer, and I get to talk to them and I get their stories. And I would like to at some point put together a book. And so I was supposed to interview her for this book that has not happened yet. So at some point I will call her and get the full story. But she told me there is a whole story there that never really came out in any of the documentaries about Rodney Acala or any of the books that have been written about Rodney. And she kind of wanted to set the record straight. So I'm interested to understand that, and to know that better, and to understand that story of her sister's passing and her interactions with Rodney Acala, and the interactions that the family had with him when he was going through the trial. Because it's all fascinating to me. But there you go, guys. There's another 5-minute murder. Old Rodney Acala, the dating game killer. Often at my booth, he's mistaken for Richard Ramirez. If you look back, some of the pictures of Rodney Acala and Richard Ramirez, they have the same hair. They have that like feathered 80s kind of hairstyle. And so, is that what it's called? Trying to think who that actress was that was famous for that hair. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Somebody can comment below and tell me what that hairstyle is called, because it's that big hair, you know, and I don't think it's feathered. I think it's something else. But anyway, comment below and let me know what that hairstyle is. You guys are more attached to that. I don't have all that much hair. Like, I'm not losing it, but I don't have that kind of hair anymore. I used to have long hair down to the middle of my back, but that is gone. So anyway, you guys have an awesome week. Sorry I'm a couple days late, but I was trying to get out of town to get to Chicago, to Cleveland. It has been a crazy, crazy busy week. I was almost in Chicago this week, and then in Cleveland, and it has been nonstop. So I wanted to get this done and make sure you guys had the second one this week, since I posted the last one on Monday. So I just wanted to make sure that we get all of our 5-minute murder in, and then we will be back at you next Friday, rocking and rolling. Y'all have a good week.
The number you have dialed is not available at present. Please leave your message after the beep.
Yeah, trendsetter, whoa, league of my